Would you like to pour me some more lemonade, please?
I would.
Thanks. I wish we had a prettier picture. I did not plan that far ahead. Thank you.
It's officially summer.
Are you doing a commercial for lemonade?
That's why we have a big, giant cravat.
But I don't.
It a cravat?
It's just a picture, but I don't want everyone to see it because it's so ugly. How was your day today?
Oh, it was lovely.
Good. I need to get on my other Facebook.
Right.
So I can see who's here. Oh no, I always forget.
This is the part of the show where we listen to the show on an iPhone speaker.
I fixed it.
So good.
Oh, we have closed captions.
Yes.
I'm just gonna do this. How about that?
Yeah, you're probably fine.
Probably fine. Hi everybody. Welcome to the backyard. We almost moved inside because of the heat.
But it's delightful.
It is delightful.
It's pleasantly
But if you
pleasant surprise.
If you ever see us make the move into the indoors, it means it got hot. And we're officially too hot in the summertime to be outside.
It's lovely right now.
It is lovely.
Nice breeze.
Because we're in the shade.
We're in the shade.
And it's in the time where the sun is starting to go down.
The time in the dusk. It's dusk.
See, I wish we could get comments on our thing.
I don't know why it's not.
Because look, Robert says hi. David says, well, he just says he's here. Like David, we're checking roll. Ken says, welcome back.
Host Stetler. Yes. Host Stetler. I'm taking.
I know, but I'm right here.
Oh.
Hey everybody. Thanks for welcoming us back, Ken. Yes, Vicky is outside. Sometimes we see Vicky running in the mornings. I run with my dad, David, and my sister-in-law, Ashley, and they all live, let me tell you, my parents live here where we are. My brother and sister-in-law live like a block that way, and then Thomas lives a block that way. Isn't that crazy? And I live across town. I mean,
it's crazy.
It's not like across town, but
that houses are in the places that they are sometimes.
Yeah, but you all live so close together. But I live across the town in another neighborhood. But guess what? I'm moving to this neighborhood.
What? When? Yeah. That'll be real convenient.
I'm going to move into your house.
Oh.
Yeah.
This seems like something I should have been consulted about.
You were.
Oh.
After we are wed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I grew up in this house, in this neighborhood. Anyway, none of this is super interesting. But what I'm trying to tell you is often, almost every day, I run with my dad and my sister-in-law in this neighborhood. And sometimes we see Vicky, who is also running.
I do not see her because I'm not running.
I know. I wish you would. But you did one time. You did a little running. Just takes a little bit of practice. I'm still working on it. Okay. You ready to start?
Yeah.
I know it's weird because we have to look. It's weird. I mean, you could fix it. Can you fix it?
I feel like that the comments have shown up on that screen.
Yeah, but not in like 3 weeks. Anyway, hello. We're glad to be back. We took a week off last week, and we're back here with you this week. I want to tell you about some exciting things going on at the Robinson Film Center. What? You want to say something?
I was going to say, it's showtime.
Yeah. That's good. I know. You did so good.
Says in the movie that we watched.
Yeah, you did.
It's showtime.
One more time.
Oh, you want me to do it?
Yeah.
It's showtime.
Okay. Now I'm going to start. Good?
I'm done.
Okay. So Abby Singer's Bistro is open, as you know, so come on down and see us. You can also order curbside pickup if you like, and we'll come bring it to you. You don't even have to come inside. While the theater is still closed, we're going to continue to do this virtual programming. We have a new series that started this week. It started yesterday. It's called Classic Black Cinema, and it's led by Tanisha Morris, who is our programming consultant. And check it out. She's got lots of good recommendations for you.
When are the showtimes? There's showtimes.
Coming. The showtimes are coming. I'll tell you about that in a second. Vicky says you look like all that jazz.
Jazz hand.
Also, please always check out our family matinee that's produced by our wonderful Angie Kaysen and Rachel Hansel. They get more and more creative every week, and I'm very excited about next week's because I got to see a little sneak preview of it today. It's going to be great. Of course, we meet here on Thursdays at 6:30, and then we have a staff pick every week. I'll give you a sneak preview of this week's. It's by DeCoven Stone, so you'll be hearing from him tomorrow. And then we also have Film 101 by Dr. Jefferson Hendricks of Centenary College.
Sounds like a band name.
What?
Please welcome to the stage, DeCoven Stone.
Yeah, it does kind of sound like a band name. I'm going to tell him that. Maybe he's listening now. Maybe he's here now. Hey, there's Tanisha. I just said your name, Tanisha, and then she shows up. It's like I summoned you like Beetlejuice. Don't say it 3 times, though. What else did I want to tell you? Oh, check all of those different programs out every day. And then we are working towards opening the theaters. I don't have a firm date for you yet. It all depends on things like movie studios and when they're deciding to release movies. So we're working on that. I will let you know as soon as we have a firm date. But in the meantime, I want to...
let us know the showtime.
I will let you know the showtimes. But in the meantime, I want you to give us some feedback. We put out a survey today, so you may have gotten it in an email if you are, subscribed to our email. You can also look at it on our website, which is robinsonfilmcenter.org. And it'll be posted on Facebook tomorrow. So I'm trying to keep up with all of the comments. Oh, I'm going to tell Jeff Hendricks that you called his films weird. He'll probably take that as a great compliment. That's one of the things I like about our slate that we have every week, every day, is that all of the movies that we recommend are very, very different. So there's bound to be something for everyone. Back to the survey. If you fill out a survey, which is basically asking you questions like, when do you think we should reopen? When we do reopen, how likely are you to come watch movies with us in our theater? How have you liked our virtual programming? Do you want us to continue some virtual programming even when our theaters are open? Those are the kinds of questions we're asking you on the survey. And guess what?
I'll answer them.
Well, here's the best part.
As soon as possible.
No, go to the survey.
I'll be there tomorrow.
Go to the survey.
And yes.
Okay. The best part about the survey is one lucky participant is going to win a $100 gift card to the Robinson Film Center that you can use anywhere in the building at Abby Singer's Bistro or in the theater or at concessions. So that's if you want to share your email with us. You can take it anonymously and you don't have to share. But if you do, you'll be entered to win a $100 gift card.
Sharing is caring. Why would they not want to share? That would mean they don't want to care.
Are you drunk?
Nah.
Okay.
Sharing is caring.
All right, so Beetlejuice.
No,
don't say it again. We watched it. We watched it last night. We had plans to watch it earlier, and then I'll tell you the truth is I started baking, and that ended up taking up a whole lot more time in my life than I expected. So Beetlejuice got pushed to last night, but it's good because now it's fresh on our minds. Oh, Vicky's already filled out her survey. Yay,
That's
Vicky.
That's a person that cares.
Yeah. And she says thank you for keeping it short. And we did. Yes.
The survey or this live feed?
No, live feed just stretches on and on.
Okay.
But the survey is relatively brief. Do you remember the first time you saw Beetlejuice?
I do.
Tell me about it.
The year was possibly 1989. I feel like it may have been the night of the very first Mardi Gras parades here in Shreveport Bossier. It's a very specific memory.
That is.
Earlier in the day,
Where did you see it?
Earlier in the day, I had visited the video store. Perhaps it was the Farmore.
I know, you liked the Farmore. You talk about it all the time.
In Shreve City. I think I had rented Beetlejuice with the intention of watching it at my grandma's house after the parade because I had plans.
Did you go to the parade?
Went to the parade, spent the night at my grandma's, and watched Beetlejuice.
By yourself?
I think she may have watched it until a point at which she fell asleep. I just remember watching it on VHS at my grandma's house and loving it.
I don't remember the first time I saw it, but I will also say that I have a very terrible memory. Like, it's getting worse and worse as the age gets on and on.
That happens.
But I do remember the film. I just don't remember the first time I watched it. I remember seeing it more than once. What do you remember most? Like, before we rewatched it last night, what were your memories of Beetlejuice?
Beetlejuice? I remember Michael Keaton's
Yeah.
performance. I know that my interest in it at that time was also because he would be playing Batman that year,
which you love.
Which I love. This film was directed by Tim Burton, also, who would go on to direct Michael Keaton and Batman. I think what year did Beetlejuice come out? 87 or 88? Mm-hmm. And then Batman came out in 1989. I knew it was the following year. What do I remember? I remember that Michael Keaton performance. I remember the dance. Dance routine, the dance number.
I remember Lydia's bangs, how they were pointy bangs. It was a very bold look that I've not seen replicated since then.
Right. But I had a delightful time revisiting it.
I remember thinking that Beetlejuice was really gross, and he is. He was still gross this time. Let's see. I remember the very pointy faces that they get, that the couple gets.
Right.
And what else? I also remember like the crazy ultra modern interior design of the house, and all of those things are still there. So I remember them all correctly.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I always remember his monologue where he says, where they go, "What are your qualifications?" He says, "Well, I was trained at Juilliard. I lived through the Black Plague, and I had a pretty good time doing that. I've seen The Exorcist. I don't know the number, but it keeps getting funnier every time I see it."
Yeah, he quoted that as we were watching it last night, and I was like, I had no idea that was a quotable moment.
Right.
Let's see. Ken liked Farmore.
I knew it would be Ken that would remember Farmore. Does anyone else remember Farmore? In the Shreve City Shopping Center, they had a video store. You could rent 6 movies for $3.
Also, this is Vicky's first time watching Beetlejuice. It might have been my parents' first time too. And Anna remembers the pointy faces and the eyeballs on the fingers. And Tiana never considered it a horror movie. Strange and unusual. Yes, Tiana, I wrote that quote down this time. I felt like it was very profound. A profound quote from Lydia. She says, "Live people tend." She read this from the handbook for the recently deceased. "Live people tend to ignore the strange and unusual. I myself am strange and unusual." Yeah, I was like, man, that's deep, Lydia.
Yeah.
Thomas is taking some more lemonade because he loves the lemonade.
I like to stay hydrated.
This is Robert's first time to watch Beetlejuice. I'm glad that we've introduced it to so many people. And let's see, what else do I want to say? There's so much I didn't remember. Because as we were watching it last night, I kept asking questions. Tom's was like, "You've seen this, haven't you?" And I said, "Yes, but many, many years ago." I mean, it's been at least, the most recent time was definitely in the 90s.
Right.
I mean, I haven't seen it since then. Tiana likes that quote. Very good. So watching it now, what are some things that stood out to you on our rewatch?
Well, you have all the hallmarks of a great Tim Burton film.
Which are what?
The macabre.
Mm-hmm. It's a hard word for me.
Strange visuals.
Because it's not pronounced like it.
Unusual visuals. You've got the Danny Elfman theme.
Yeah. Danny Elfman was great, and he is another repeat Tim Burton.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, they partner together all the time.
Every film that Tim Burton has done.
He's also kind of weird and strange and unusual and fabulous.
Right.
In the same way that Tim Burton and Tiana.
Batman and, like I said, pretty much every Tim Burton film that
what else? What are some other Tim Burton hallmarks?
Well, I mean,
the film is missing one major Tim Burton hallmark, and that's Johnny Depp.
Yeah,
this is a Johnny Depp-less film.
Johnny Depp-less film.
I loved the surreal moments, like the when they go out where the sandworm is, and they leap, and it made zero sense. It still makes zero sense.
It was Mars. He says in the movie, "I've been to Mars." So I guess that's where that is.
Well, it didn't. It's not explained. It doesn't make any sense, and I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's another Tim Burton hallmark, is not everything's going to make sense, and but you just go with it.
Right.
And the visuals are stunning and beautiful. What else did I love? Oh, Alec Baldwin.
Yeah, Alec Baldwin was delightful.
Looks like a different person.
I know you're really preoccupied with.
I mean, he looks
Alec
like he doesn't. If
we
you
all
look
get
at
older,
Alec,
Meghan.
But if you look at Alec Baldwin now, it's not like he looks like an older version of this Alec Baldwin. He looks like his facial structure has changed. Right. He does not look like the same person. Anyone else agree, or is it just me?
I think you're just being...
Let's see.
Intensely harsh.
Oh, but there, you got corrected. It's Saturn, not Mars.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Saturn. I'm sorry. Thank you, Brian H. Smith.
And Tiana said it too. Let's see. There's a lot of adult comments that I completely missed as a kid, but appreciate as an adult. Harry Belafonte is the... Danny Elfman scores it, but Harry Belafonte provides the soundtrack, which was released. Like, you could buy the soundtrack, and it was a hit. Sure. And let's see. Oh, Angie. Angie has been compared to Lydia before. Elizabeth, yes, he was a little bit of a creeper. But yeah, I mean, he's not supposed to be a nice guy. I loved Juno too. Joanne says that she loves Juno, and I wrote down that I loved her too. And the actress's name is Sylvia Sidney. And she was fantastic. And she was smoking, and smoke was coming out of her throat. And I loved it. Right. I thought it was fantastic. And she's the caseworker, because the afterlife has become this like bureaucracy. You got a caseworker, and you got to fill out all the paperwork, and you got to sit in the waiting room and take a number. Right. That was probably my favorite part of the movie, is that whole system, that whole world that he created, and the characters that were in it.
Yep.
I liked it very much.
I did too.
Yeah, suicide victims end up in civil service in the afterlife. Yes, and my dad is pointing out that the dad was the principal from Ferris Bueller. It's very, very...
That's from the other movie that we watched.
Right, yeah. And Katherine O'Hara was in Best in Show.
She was from that other movie that we watched.
And the mom was from Home Alone. That's good. Yeah. Betty says that Alec Baldwin does look totally different, except she called him Alex, which she also kept doing the other night, and I had to keep correcting her, but she didn't. It didn't
Alex Baldwin and Janice Davis in this movie, they were terrific together.
Yeah. Let's see, what else did I notice? Katherine O'Hara's looks were definitely be memorable. My favorite was when she tied a glove around her head for a headband. Right. And like the fingers were just kind of the fingers of the glove just kind of laid here nicely on her forehead. Right. I thought that was a bold look. Did their interior designer live with them? Like, what was that relationship
I feel like he was staying with them, at least for
many months.
For the duration of that project.
I guess.
Right.
He would get on my nerves if he was there all the time.
Otho?
Yeah. Oh. You like Otho? He's kind of sneaky. Right. And I'm not sure how honest he is.
Oh, no. He's a shady character, that's for sure. One thing that did strike me watching on this viewing is that as a kid, the scene in which Beetlejuice tears away his clothes and he's wearing like a paisley suit underneath. Sure. As a kid, I thought that was perhaps his undergarments, and that's why he was embarrassed, because he was in his underwear. But really, I guess it was a joke about fashion, like that he would never be caught dead
and
wearing
Paisley caught dead, but he was dead. Funny, yeah.
Otho wasn't dead.
Otho. Oh no, it's fashion. He was very modern and sleek and dark.
He tore it away. He was wearing, was that paisley?
Like a leisure suit.
Right, it was a leisure
suit. Like a 1970s leisure suit.
But as a kid, I thought that was his underwears, and that's why he was mortified. And we don't see him again for the duration of the film.
Michelle says, I had no clue until now that was Alec Baldwin, because he looks completely different. Otho is a leech. Yes, he is. I can't keep up with all of these, but y'all are saying some good things. All right. Tiana is with us on the Alec Baldwin thing. I think it was a leisure suit. Brian confirms. That's not what I said. Right. Okay, let's see. What else did I love about the movie? Here's something else that I noticed this time that I've never noticed before. Tell me if you're with me. Beetlejuice is not in the movie very much. Mm-mm. Like, he's barely in it. Yeah. If he were nominated for an Oscar, he'd be in the supporting category.
That's correct.
Why does he get the movie named after him?
Well, I don't know. It's your classic Jaws situation. That shark's not in the movie much either.
Right. But this Beetlejuice isn't even talked about that much.
And that's not even how you spell Beetlejuice.
Right. Beetlejuice.
The name of the movie is not the proper spelling of his name.
Which I guess... It's like he can't tell anyone his name, so you have to like know it. So you can't just spell it out for people.
Right.
But I was surprised. I remembered him being much more prominently featured in the film. Like he's barely in it.
because he's the host with the most.
Ooh, Elizabeth thinks that that Katherine O'Hara is having an affair with Otho.
Oh, I do not.
That's a hot take.
But that's a hot take.
It is. Anyway, I felt like Beetlejuice needed some more airtime,
Right.
or they needed to rename the movie.
Okay. Correct.
But it's probably neither of those things are going to happen.
No,
it's done.
fine.
It's in the can.
Yeah, I mean this was 30 plus years ago now.
Yeah.
You can believe it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was gonna also say maybe this is something you have slated for later in the programming, but did you, in your research about the film, did you discover the existence of the animated series?
Yeah. Go ahead. Tell us about it.
There was an animated series based on the movie Beetlejuice.
Mm-hmm. Did you watch it?
I did. I watched.
I remember it
being on after school, and it was about Lydia's adventures with Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice and Lydia became buddies.
They are buddies.
And went on adventures together.
Oh, no, I didn't know they were buddies. No.
Yeah.
But everyone hates Beetlejuice.
Not in the cartoon. He was
a nicer
more
fella.
of a sympathetic character. But
Okay.
they used the theme song from the movie, and I just remember that being on after school.
I remember the visuals of it, but I don't really remember anything else about it. I don't know that I ever watched it.
Right.
Maybe my brother did, and I just happened to be in the room sometimes.
Beetlejuice, the animated series.
What would the new title be, says Ken? Well, I'll tell you one title that it almost was Scared Sheetless.
That's what they were going to...
Tim Burton suggested it as like a joke.
Right.
And then he was kind of horrified when the studio actually considered it.
Oh, that's right. I've
Yeah.
heard that story.
Money Trap. David, thanks for that suggestion. The theme song is a bop, says Elizabeth. It is. It is. Tiana's a fan of the animated series, just like you. Good. You know what else? There was a musical, a Broadway musical.
A Beetlejuice Broadway musical?
Correct.
In fact, you say?
Yeah. In fact, it was still running when Broadway shut down in March.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So
maybe I heard that.
there's plans in the works. Is that what you said that right? Yeah, there's plans in the works for it to be a touring company that will tour around the country and would likely come to the Strand Theater here in Shreveport that we could go see. And it's possible, depending on when when Broadway reopens, it's possible that they will resume in a different theater because someone else is going to be in the theater that they were in. But yeah, it was popular. It's a big hit.
And there's also been talk over the years of a sequel.
Yeah,
I bet you.
I know about it. In fact, I want to read you about it because it's too good to paraphrase. Yes, Beetlejuice was nominated for a Tony last year, and Tiana loved the cartoon again. She's still talking about the
Tony Danza.
Yeah, it was nominated for Tony Danza.
For Tony Danza, Tony Danza gets to go live with the cast of Beetlejuice.
Yeah,
that sounds like so much fun. I would watch that.
Hold me closer, Tony Danza.
That's right.
Okay, let me tell you about the sequel. A once possible sequel.
I'll tell you the title.
Go ahead.
Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian?
Correct. In 1990, Burton hired Jonathan Gems to write a sequel titled Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian.
1990?
Correct.
They've been talking about this since 1990?
Tim thought it would be funny to match the surfing backdrop of a movie with some sort of German expressionism. That's the line that really got me from Wikipedia. I would love to see Tim Burton's take on a German expressionism surfing film. Because they're totally wrong together. The story followed the Dietz family moving to Hawaii, where Charles is developing a resort. They soon discover that his company is building on the burial ground of an ancient Hawaiian kahuna.
Like in the Brady Bunch.
Right. Exactly. The spirit comes back from the afterlife to cause trouble, and Beetlejuice becomes a hero by winning a surf contest with magic. Keaton and Ryder both... I know... doesn't make sense, but that's fine. Keaton and Ryder agreed to do the film on the condition that Burton directed, but both Keaton and Burton became distracted with
Batman
Returns.
Correct.
Yes.
Love it too.
So yeah, I would love to see that sequel.
But they were
the talk continues to circulate, but as of 2019, Warner Brothers says that the sequel idea has been shelved for now.
Because I think there was some renewed interest in it after Birdman.
Right. Yes. Because
Michael Keaton.
Michael, tell me more about that. You do love Michael Keaton. You are like a major. I don't know a lot of Michael Keaton fans, although Tiana might be one because she said some stuff about it in our Facebook group today.
He was my Batman.
I know you love Batman.
1989 was the summer of Batman. and Michael Keaton was said Batman.
Why was Michael Keaton chosen? I mean, I think I know because I read about it, but I mean, like, he is not an obvious choice to me
Tim
for
Burton
Batman.
He wanted to pick someone that was against type as far as what your typical action hero looked like in the 80s.
Right.
He wanted Batman to be unassuming.
Or now. I mean, can you imagine Michael Keaton as an Avenger? Like, if you think of who's being cast as superheroes now. I mean, I can't.
No. I mean, I think at the time the idea was, or Tim Burton's take is that Bruce Wayne should be unassuming. He should look just like your average Joe, and it's when he is Batman that he goes to work.
Okay.
So also, the intensity. I mean, Michael Keaton's kind of an intense guy. He's got something behind those eyes that I think they thought that he'd make a good Batman. Also, the chin, great chin.
He does have a great chin.
But at the time, it was fairly controversial casting. I mean, this was a time before the internet where, today when someone's casting a film and the fanboys are don't see it or don't approve, you go to the internet. At that time, they wrote letters to Warner Brothers because
What's a letter?
Well, it's
like an email.
It's what makes
like
up
an analog
words.
email.
Right.
Okay.
So at the time, there were a lot of letters written to Warner Brothers concerned over the casting of Michael Keaton as Batman because they were worried that they were going to make it into a comedy, into a campy film, a la the Batman television series of the 60s.
But there was a little camp to it.
A little bit of camp. But
especially compared to like the Nolan Batmans.
Yeah, there's a little camp in there, but they were fairly dark films that took themselves seriously.
Sure.
People were concerned they were going to be making a comedy because that's what Michael Keaton was known for at the time.
Vicky Wissing, by the way,
loves Michael Keaton's lips to a degree that
I mean, she's going on and on about how much she loves Michael Keaton. Just like Tiana loves the animated Beetlejuice series, Vicky loves Michael Keaton.
Everyone loves Michael Keaton and his lips.
Yeah, no, we're getting votes for Keaton as the best Batman. Robert Pattinson is going to be the next Batman. That's true.
Yep. I mean, Christian Bale's a great Batman. Also.
Yeah, but Christian Bale is very like dapper and dashing in a way that Michael Keaton is not. I mean, I agree with you, Vicky. Don't get upset. He is a very handsome man. But yeah, he's a different kind of leading man. Hang on, I lost my thought. Oh, some other things that I liked Michael Keaton in. When you look at Michael Keaton's career, like Beetlejuice stands out to me because there's nothing else. There's no other performance like it.
Right.
He is unrecognizable as Michael Keaton. Like he's crazy. And I've never seen him be like that in any other film.
What are some other Michael Keaton performances, Meghan,
that I like?
Stand out for you?
Well, I like Beetlejuice a lot. I mean, Beetlejuice might be the best.
Mr. Mom.
Mr. Mom. Ken loves Mr. Mom.
I think Multiplicity is an underrated.
Yeah.
Film. I don't think it gets the love it deserves.
His wife asks him, "What do you want out of this marriage?" And you know what his answer is? Pizza.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
Pizza.
That's one of the. It's like the childish version of
Pizza.
Yeah.
And Birdman, of course.
I loved him in Birdman. I loved The Paper and Spotlight because I love newspaper movies. And they're both great newspaper movies. The Paper might be my very favorite newspaper movie ever. It's from like the 1994, I want to say. And then Spotlight won Best Picture a couple years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. Let's see. What did David say about the Lone Ranger? Keaton would be good as the Lone Ranger. Okay. Well, you produce that film and we'll give him a call and see.
Michael Keaton.
Brian Smith is questioning Mr. Mom. Like, I don't know if he thinks that your pick is one of your favorites.
Or he's questioning whether that's a movie that exists. like Mr. Mom? There's a movie called Mr. Mom?
Hey, Duke. Hi, Duke. It's so good to see you.
There is a movie called Mr. Mom,
I miss
and you should look it up.
I'm sorry. I'm catching up with Duke. Duke Pierce is named after, who do you think?
John Wayne.
Correct. Anyway, he loves Michael Keaton in Much Ado About Nothing. And Ken also, he says agree Multiplicity. But earlier today, Ken also shared in our Facebook group that he loved him in Much Ado About Nothing. So that's another great pick. The Founder was really good. That's where he is the founder of McDonald's, whose name?
Ray Kroc.
Thank you. What was the movie where he's a drug addict in recovery? I think that's
Oh,
called The
Clean-
Dream Team.
No, the dream. No.
Isn't that he's in
Clean
a
and Sober.
but in The Dream Team he's in a facility of some kind.
Yes, but a mental
Oh,
health facility.
okay.
Clean and Sober is the film where he's battling addiction. Those
There
are
you go.
Two different things.
Sorry, I missed that one. So many good recommendations
He
here.
is
The
the
other
villain
guys,
in Spider-Man:
right?
Homecoming,
Brian mentioned that.
and he's going to serve as the connective tissue between that film and a film called Morbius, starring Jared Leto.
Leto from Bossier City.
Right.
Bossier.
He's going to appear as the character he played in Spider-Man: Homecoming in Morbius with Jared Leto, establishing a connection between the Marvel Spider-Man
And the
films
Sony.
and the Sony Spider-Man
Crazy
films.
stuff.
It's crazy. I had to
Crazy
bring it
stuff.
up. Also, he walked away from doing Batman Forever for a crazy amount of money just because he didn't.
He was tired of
care for-
Batman?
no, he didn't care
sorry.
for the script.
Okay.
And Tim Burton had walked away, so he lost interest.
Right. Okay.
But they were going to give him $12 million at the time, which that's pretty.
I mean, I'd take
even
it.
today. That's
Yeah.
a fairly decent payday.
Looking back over his career today, he never stopped working. There's never a lull in his resume. He worked steadily. Some of it's voice work, so he did some animated things, but there's never like a time where he wasn't working. He just kind of wasn't in the spotlight very much until Birdman. So Birdman's kind of thought of as the resurgence, his comeback, in which he was nominated for an Oscar. It's the only one he's been nominated for. Although I'd argue Beetlejuice is a pretty great
What has
performance.
he done since Birdman?
Since Birdman Spotlight,
That's been since Birdman.
The Founder,
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
Spider-Man.
that's true.
He's got something coming up right
You're-
right here in a bit. I got country for a second.
Well, shoot.
Well, shoot.
We're out of Michael Keaton films to say words about.
Let's see. Oh gosh, My Life is So Good. I forgot about it. That is a sad one. And then Johnny Dangerously. Okay, I haven't seen Johnny Dangerously, Duke. I need to look that one up. I'm sorry.
I've seen it.
You've seen it. Good. So Michael Keaton, we like him. It's underrated.
Big fan of Michael
Yeah,
Keaton.
Vicky. None more so than Vicky.
Oh, another fun fact about Michael Keaton that you might or may not know. Real name, Michael Douglas.
Did he have to change it
Changed
because
his
of the other
name
Michael
because
Douglas?
of that other Michael Douglas.
I wonder how he picked Keaton.
Because of Buster Keaton.
Thank you. That's
You're
so good to
welcome.
know.
I'm a wealth of information
you
about
really
Michael
are.
Keaton.
Okay. Yeah. Back to Beetlejuice for a sec.
Yep.
Do you have any favorite scenes or quotes?
I mean, you know I like the monologue about the...
I know you did share that with us.
Juilliard.
You want to? I bet you can guess my favorite part because I laughed so hard at it last night.
The routine around the
Yes,
table.
the Deo. Yeah.
Right.
That just cracks me up. It was hilarious. Which they also thought it was hilarious. They were not scared. They thought it was a great party trick. What else did I like? I liked the snake when Beetlejuice turns into a snake. That was very scary.
Mm-hmm.
I probably would have been very scared if I'd seen that as a child, or maybe I was and I blocked it out and I don't remember it.
It was a lot strange that he was marrying
Lydia. Mm-hmm.
That was weird.
Well, I mean, like Elizabeth said, he was a creep. He was
Right.
very much a creep. Okay, Duke is recommending an interview on the Netflix show Norm Macdonald Has a Show.
Okay.
I like Norm Macdonald. Yeah, I'll check it out because we can learn some more about Michael
Keaton
Douglas.
has a good
Michael
interview.
Keaton, sorry.
Oh, I'm always up
Sorry.
to hear from
Not
Michael
Michael
Keaton
Keaton.
about anything, pretty much.
Tiana knows the dance routine and does it along with the film. Elizabeth loves the ending, how they become a big, happy, living and dead family at the end, and they're dancing to some Harry Belafonte. It was a perfect role for Winona Ryder. Yes, it was. It was in Winona Ryder's prime, and I really loved her then, and I love her now. I love her in Stranger Things. I'd like to see her come back and do a Beetlejuice sequel.
Maybe they will.
Maybe they will.
I think Michael Keaton.
I like the wedding scene when the couple turns old and brittle and his jaw falls off. That's pretty cool.
Disturbed by that as a
And
child.
all the really weird modern art comes to life and traps the family so they
Right.
can't. Yeah, it's a good scene. I liked it all very much.
Right. And I think they had some interesting cameos. You had your Robert Goulet.
Yes.
You had your Dick Cavett.
Yes.
They're just hanging out.
This is off topic, but I'm just going to talk to my people for a second.
Who watching knows who Dick Cavett is? Probably not anybody.
Well, I want to tell a story about Robert Goulet.
Okay.
Any chorus line fans out there? Probably not. But does anyone love a chorus line? If no one loves a chorus line, this story's going to be dumb. There's a song from Chorus Line says, hello 12, hello 13, hello love. And it's about the characters are talking about their experiences growing up in adolescence. And this one girl is kind of talking about all the different celebrities she had crushes on. And she says, there's a line that she says, Robert Goulet, my God, Robert Goulet. So that's what I think of every time I see him.
All the ladies loved Robert Goulet.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my chorus line story.
Yeah.
Back to, people are liking it. They like my chorus line story. That's good. Okay, back to Beetlejuice. Duke is doing a chorus line number at school right now. I wonder is it hello 12, hello 13, hello love? Yeah, I'll tell you what. I know every word to every song in the entire show. It's a major, major chorus line fan. Vicky loves Dick Cavett. Great interviewer.
Yep.
Okay, let's see what else. We're done with this part. We forgot to announce what segment we were doing. Do you even know what segment that was?
Was it TMI?
It was TMI. What does TMI stand for?
Too much information.
Nope. Think of who's sitting here right now.
Thomas and Meghan's
insights. You'll get it someday.
TMI.
Okay, what is our next segment?
TMI.
No. We're in the next. We finished that one.
I was just saying, each segment has a little sound effect that I make.
Yeah.
Maybe for that it would be the sound effect of somebody saying to someone else that just overshared.
Maybe.
TMI.
Work on it.
I'm gonna work on it.
Workshop
it doesn't feel right.
Okay, what's segment number 2?
Oh, this is a segment that we like to call Johnny Five Alive.
I want you to work on that too, because that's not my favorite.
But that's my voice that I do for Johnny Five from Short Circuit and Short Circuit 2.
In this segment, we talk about our top 5 films.
Johnny Five Alive.
Elizabeth knew it already. Good job. In this segment, we talk about our top 5 films in a given category. Do you happen to have yours prepared?
Of course I do.
Good. Okay. Today's category is our top 5 horror or fantasy comedies of all time. And I will also tell you that horror is a word that is difficult for me to say.
Horror.
Is it hard for you to say?
No.
How do you say it?
Just horror. Horror.
Sorry, I'm bad at it. Okay, who do you want to go first?
Are we going to start with our number 5 and work down to 1?
Yeah, are you new here?
Yeah, it's my first day.
Okay. Yes, who would you like to go first?
I'll go first.
Go first, then.
My number 5 is The Monster Squad.
I'm going to make a prediction.
That Ken Scruggs knows that movie and also loves it.
Of course he knows that movie.
I bet he does.
But my prediction is we are going to have 0 overlap until the number 1 movie. And I bet that our number 1 is the same.
I would agree.
Okay. Other people are giving some suggestions. Tiana, Nightmare on Elm Street is not a comedy. It is like a straight up horror.
I think at some points it's funny unintentionally.
Yeah, but I mean, Tiana can make her own list. She can create. Tiana, you put whatever you want on your top 5. Go for it. Okay, tell us about Monster Squad.
Monster Squad is the story
Angie
of
loves
a group of friends that encounter pretty much like a team of the Universal monsters. Like all of the Universal monsters, they basically are teamed up in this film. You got your Dracula, you got your Frankenstein, you got your Wolfman.
What year is this?
Probably the late 80s.
I missed it.
There's a very prominent
Fred Savage, isn't it?
Quote from the film. No, you're thinking about Little Monsters.
Okay.
This is
Monster Squad.
Little Monsters almost made the list, but I went with Monster Squad. There's a very famous quote from the film involving a Wolfman and his private region.
Oh dear, this is a PG show.
I know, that's why I said
watching.
Private region. It's Wolfman's got people that know the film.
That's enough.
It's probably not inappropriate. If you want to chime in the comments with the rest of that quote, feel free. Wolfman.
Tiana is saying that Freddy Krueger is hilarious.
Wolfman.
You missed the point of that movie. You're supposed to be scared by Freddy.
He's not. I mean, I think in later films he was more comedic.
Maybe. Lots of good picks coming in. Okay, I'm going to tell you my number 5.
Yes.
Now remember, this is horror or fantasy.
I didn't.
You just stuck with
I
horror.
stopped at horror.
Okay, that's fine. Well, I threw one in there that's not horror.
What?
Big.
What? That's what?
What's wrong with Big?
I stuck with movies involving creatures and monsters.
But why? I didn't tell you to. I texted you today and said the category is horror or
Big?
fantasy. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that takes me right out of this whole. I'm just gonna focus on my list.
Okay,
Continue.
well then,
No, you're fine.
No, I'll sub it out.
Stick
I
with
had an
Big.
honorable mention.
No, Big is fine. Big is fine. It's just not horror in any way.
I said horror or fantasy.
Okay.
This is
fine.
a fantasy. Can
Yeah.
it happen in real life? Can this happen in real life?
It could. You
Okay.
don't know.
I do.
Have you
know.
ever wished?
I know about the laws of
on
the
a
universe.
Zoltar machine?
Yes, I have, in fact.
Oh, then I guess you debunked it.
Yeah, I have. Anyway, took the wind out of my sails for Big.
No, Big is fine. Everyone loves Big.
Okay, well, I love Big, and I thought it was a great fantasy comedy. Tom Hanks at his prime, in his 80s comedy prime. He doesn't get dramatic until the 90s, so we got just good comedic. Tom Hanks, directed by Penny Marshall.
Big is dramatic in some places.
Also, I love David Moscow. Do you know who David Moscow is?
I think the name is familiar. Who is David?
He's
Moscow?
the kid that turns into Tom Hanks.
Oh, the young boy.
And I loved him in Newsies. I'm being very musical today, but I loved him in Newsies. And so once I discovered him in Newsies and like crushed real hard on him, I had to go watch I had to have like a David Moscow marathon, and he was in Big. He was the kid. So anyway, I love Big.
Big. Fine.
Mm-hmm. Okay, look, Lord of the Rings South Park episode counts. Yes, of course. If it's your list, you can make your own
It's
rules.
your list. You do whatever you want. We're not here to judge your list.
Tiana is still working on convincing us that Nightmare on Elm Street is a comedy. It's fine. I accept it. It's a comedy. We have more good suggestions. Okay. All right. Number 4 for you. Go.
My number 4 is Scream.
Yes.
It is a horror comedy.
It is. But you want to know why I didn't choose it? Because there's no supernatural element to it. That's why. I just make my own rules for my own list, and you make your own rules for your own list.
That's fine.
Okay, go ahead. Tell me more.
I mean, that's really all I got. I haven't seen it in many years. I just remember watching it
And it was funny.
and enjoying it.
It
Not
is-
that it was funny. It's just it's a solid movie.
Well, this list is about comedies.
You remember she's on the phone and it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
Do you like
I love
scary-
Scream.
do you
I've
like
seen
scary
Scream
movies?
a whole lot of
Like,
times.
Yeah, I like scary movies. And then the call is coming
She's
from
doing the Jiffy
inside the
Pop.
house. Is the call coming
No,
from inside
that's
the
another
house?
movie. He's watching her though. Remember? Why you put this on your list and you don't even
Get out the
think
house.
about it?
Get out the
Ah,
house.
You're fired. Anyone else want to be my new co-host? I'm firing
Oh,
Thomas.
No, this day's taking a
I
turn.
know. I'm gonna move on to my number 4. Come back. I still like you. My number 4 is a film called Ready or Not from 2019.
Oh yeah,
Remember you saw it with me?
yeah.
So let me tell you about it. It stars Samara Weaving, but you could have told me it starred Margot Robbie, and I would have believed you because
They look
they
the same.
appear to be the same person to
But
me,
they're
but,
not.
but they're not. She's going to be in the new Bill and Ted movie, and she's going to be in the new G.I. Joe movie, which I didn't know there was a new G.I. Joe movie, but she's in
a
it.
new G.I. Joe
Yeah.
movie?
Yeah,
What's it called?
G.I. Joe.
No.
There's more words to it, but I don't know them right now. She's also in the new Netflix.
Is she Baroness? Is she playing Baroness?
I don't even know anything about G.I. Joe.
I'm so excited.
Anyway, she's also in the new Netflix Ryan Murphy series Hollywood that a lot of you have probably watched already. Good. People like your Scream. That's good. It also has Ready or Not has Andy McDowell and Adam Brody in it. Let me tell you about the plot a little bit. Has anyone seen Ready or Not, or is it just me and Thomas? Just us. Okay. So it's their wedding day. So Samara Weaving is it Weaving or Weaver? Weaving is getting married to this fine young gentleman. And on the night of their wedding, after the wedding, the family sits around and they play a game because they're a board game empire. That's how they've made their fortune is on board games. So anyway, they go around the circle and everyone pulls a card, And if you pull any card other than hide and seek, everything's cool. But if the bride happens to pull the card that says hide and seek, then the night takes a dark turn. And lo and behold, that's exactly what happens. So what has to happen is the family has to kill the bride. The bride has to go hide somewhere in the house, and the family has to hunt her down and kill her. Because why, you may ask? Here's why. Because the family made a deal with the devil many generations ago, and that's why they were so successful and became so wealthy. And if they don't sacrifice a young bride every so often, like when the card tells you to, then they'll all die. That's the premise of the movie.
I remember I was there.
I
saw it also.
It's fantastic. It's hilarious. A little bit scary, but mostly hilarious. And I loved it. I can't say enough great things about it. Angie liked it too. Good. And Elizabeth wants to see it. Tiana likes it. Good. Okay, if you haven't seen it, see it. It's good. What's your number 3?
I have a bit of a problem.
What is it?
My phone died.
You don't remember your list?
I don't remember my number 3, but I remember my number 2, so I'm just going to jump to my number 2.
Okay. What's your number 2?
I apologize for this.
Ken says that Ready or Not is based on a true story. It's a lie. It's not. Tell us your number 2. Let's keep this moving.
Gremlins.
Ah. Okay.
I love me some Gremlins.
Yeah.
I love that little Mogwai.
Is that how you say it?
Mogwai.
Okay.
Yes.
You can't get them wet, right?
Can I get them wet?
And you can't beat them
after midnight.
Yeah.
It's a great 80s horror comedy.
I remember Domino's.
I enjoyed the cereal.
That product placement is good because I remember 30 years later.
I remember the cereal, the Gremlins cereal. And
oh.
The little gizmos.
I'll tell you what, I didn't like Gremlins because I was scared. I was of the age where it was scarier than funnier.
And I would like to make mention also of Gremlins 2, which is also a hoot. And I just did not want to fill my list with the original and the sequel.
Right. No, that would have been poor form.
Enjoy.
Yeah. Okay, Tiana loves Gremlins.
But
Tiana loves all the movies you love.
If you want, I'll throw out my...
Well, no, just switch them.
Well, my number 3 was Beetlejuice, the film we're discussing today.
Did you not read your text?
Was I not supposed to include this film?
Yes.
Well, then it worked out.
Okay, well, my number 3...
Sometimes things happen for a reason.
Mm-hmm. My number 3 is a film called Thor Ragnarok.
This list.
Horror and fantasy.
All right.
Like, you just because you don't listen doesn't mean that I'm wrong.
I just thought we were picking movies in the same vein as Beetlejuice.
What does it say right there?
Johnny Five Alive.
Horror or fantasy. And I texted you,
right,
and you responded with, okay.
Yeah.
That led me to believe you had read it.
I just went with horror comedies.
That's fine.
I
Okay.
love Thor Ragnarok, though, of course.
Yeah. I would say that all of the Marvel movies are funny.
Yeah.
But I think this is the one that's like most focused on comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's also a fantasy.
Yes.
Yeah.
There are creatures.
Directed by one of my favorite directors.
Taika Waititi.
Correct.
Star of 2011's Green Lantern.
Okay. Good. Chris Hemsworth is really good as funny Thor. I hate him as dark and brooding Thor. But I love him as funny Thor. So I'm glad that Taika Waititi saved the franchise, I feel like.
No, he did reinvigorate it a little bit. I feel like the original Thor is an underrated
No,
film.
I think the original Thor is funny because he's a fish out of water, like being a god on Earth, and there's lots of opportunities for comedy there.
Right.
But the second Thor is just too dark and ugh. I didn't like it at all. I didn't like it at all.
Yeah.
And then Taika Waititi comes back with a win with Thor Ragnarok with this day glow, psychedelic, bizarre, hilarious adventure.
Right. And he's going to be directing Thor 4, which is called Thor Love and Thunder.
Oh, that's a great name. That's fantastic.
Love and Thunder.
Taika is in Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, he's
Korg. Yeah. He's a rock creature. Yeah. Let's see. Jeff Goldblum. We can't leave out Jeff Goldblum as the Grandmaster. I mean, if you put Jeff Goldblum in a movie, you get points for that. I mean, it's got to be good.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of the film, and when I think of Beetlejuice, I think also of Thor Ragnarok.
Do you?
They're so similar.
We have ample time to discuss these things before we go live.
But that would just take the fun out of it,
Oh,
the spontaneity and the liveness. Continue. Oh, it's
Thank
my
you.
turn.
No, it's not, because you did your.
Oh,
It's my turn
What's your
again.
next one? Okay. Continue.
Again, taking applications for a co-host. If anyone, just submit them to my email, please. Number 2 is, I saw this one mentioned already, Little Shop of Horrors. Is that acceptable to you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's exactly in the same vein.
1986, directed by your buddy, Frank Oz.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
It stars, let me tell you, an all-star cast. Rick Moranis, Ellen Green, Steve Martin, Bill Murray. Remember him?
He was the dentist. No,
he was
Steve Martin was the dentist.
Steve Martin was the dentist, but Bill Murray was the guy that loved pain. He went for the root canal because. Levi Stubbs from the Four Tops is the voice of Audrey 2. And we have cameos from Tisha Campbell-Martin, Jim Belushi, John Candy, and our good buddy, Christopher Guest.
Directed by Frank Oz.
Yeah, and it is a movie about an alien man-eating plant.
Yeah.
And it's a musical and a comedy.
Great.
I mean, it's just...
But wasn't it a musical first? Was it a...
Well, let me tell you, it was a film first, 1960.
And they remade. This is a remake.
But it was not a musical. It was just a film. Jack Nicholson was in it in one of his early appearances. He was the Bill Murray character.
Oh.
And yeah, he's really funny in it. And then it became an off-Broadway musical. You know what an off-Broadway is?
You take a right off of Broadway and then another right.
Yeah. An off-Broadway.
What street is that? 3rd and Bleecker.
Yeah, correct. Off-Broadway means that you're in Manhattan, and the theater has to have less than 100 seats. So that's what off-Broadway means. And that's where Little Shop of Horrors started. It did graduate to off-Broadway, which is 100 to 500 seats, but it purposefully never went to Broadway in its original run because it was they wanted to maintain their street cred. And then the 1986 film was based on that musical. It's fantastic. I love it. Alan Menken wrote the music. You know what else he's written music for? A little film called what? Let me tell you. The Lion King. No. That was good buddy Elton John and Tim Rice.
What is this?
But you're on the right track. Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, right. Pocahontas, Newsies. You know, I love a Newsies.
One Disney one he did.
Yeah. And regarding
Henry.
Regarding the film of Little Shop of Horrors, there is a new version rumored to be coming out, directed by Greg Berlanti, who I feel like you know.
Yeah, from those Arrow shows.
Yeah, he makes all the DC
Arrow
shows.
Arrowverse.
And Billy Porter would be the plant, and Taron Egerton, who was he was Elton John, he would be Seymour. Scarlett Johansson would be Audrey, and my close personal friend Chris Evans would be the dentist.
He doesn't even like you.
Yes, he does.
He asked you for that slice of pizza that one
time. No, that's
time.
because he likes me so much.
But you did not share your pizza.
It's
with
fine.
him. Remember what we talked about earlier in the show? That sharing is caring. And you did not care for.
But I'm also friends with his brother, Scott.
I bet
we met one time.
Be less friendly toward you if he knew the pizza.
I follow both Scott and Chris on Instagram.
Right.
No, we're buddies, and he's going to be
Meghan denied Chris Evans a slice of pizza.
They all know we've told the story before. But anyway, he's going to be the dentist in Little Shop of Horrors.
You probably did him a favor. He was probably in training. He had to stay fit for so long.
He was in this other movie.
Right.
But anyway, this isn't Chris Evans.
You're like, no, Chris Evans. You are training to be Captain America. You can't be eating
But
they've
pizza. Heard this story before, so we're going to move on.
At the strip
I bet you we have the same number one film.
Let's say it at the same time.
All right, 3, 2, 1. 3.
Ghostbusters. I'm sorry. I wreck everything. Take a sip and calm down.
My number one is Ghostbusters.
Yay! But we did the same movie for number one.
We did. Tell me why you picked it.
It's Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
That's all. What else you have to say?
Well, the point of this thing that we do right here is to talk about the films.
I love Ghostbusters. It's one of those films from my formative years.
Back off, man. I'm a scientist.
Yeah, it just stuck with you. It sticks with you to your ribs. It's like a hearty
That's
meal.
where we got the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Right.
Don't Cross the Stream, Zool. I mean, so many great.
Things.
Yeah. Dr. Slimer. I love Slimer. What I want to say about Peter Venkman is I love Bill Murray. Just in general, I don't find him necessarily attractive romantically.
Right. But
however, Peter Venkman, he exudes charm and confidence.
Right.
Yeah. And he could get any girl in town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I do it.
I love me some Peter Venkman, and I love all of the Ghostbusters. It's the perfect 80s film.
I love Ghostbusters, and I love Ghostbusters
If you wanted to scroll back into some older Facebook videos, you can find Thomas and I as, what's her name? Janine, and who are you? Ray.
I was Ray.
Yeah, and we have some fun little Ghostbusters videos from Give for Good that you can go back and look at.
Ghostbusters Afterlife coming to a theater.
Joanne says that Ghostbusters came out the same weekend as Gremlins. Did you know that?
1984.
It is also an animated series. Yes, my brother was really into the animated series.
The real Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
You want me to? Can I tell the story of why it's called the real Ghostbusters?
Of course.
Well, because number one, there was a Hanna-Barbera cartoon from the 60s or 70s called Ghostbusters.
Didn't know that.
So they couldn't call this cartoon Ghostbusters, so they called it the real Ghostbusters. That's part of the reason. The second part was because the Ghostbusters in the cartoon were the actual Ghostbusters, and the Ghostbusters in the movie
they were like based on
actors playing the Ghostbusters, and there's an episode of the animated series where the cartoon Ghostbusters fly out to Los Angeles for the premiere of Ghostbusters.
Crazy.
It's crazy, but it's ingenious. That was a clever show.
Yeah,
I enjoyed. Ghostbusters.
There's also a sequel. Ghostbusters
also a
2.
great cereal. I was big into cereal as a kid.
There's Ghostbusters 2. There's the new Ghostbusters with all the ladies. I enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
And then there's what's the one that's coming out?
Afterlife.
It's
coming out.
Directed by Jason Reitman.
By now, or soon. I think it had a June
release.
release. Directed by the son
upside down now.
Of Ivan Reitman's son, Jason, who is he describes himself as the very first Ghostbusters fan.
Anna, yeah, that's true. I mean, that'd be nice to have your dad direct Ghostbusters. Anna is upset that we didn't pick Rocky Horror Picture Show. Let me tell you, my list was really, really long, and I had to narrow it down. It's hard. It's hard to pick 5, but that is also an excellent pick. The part of Egon was originally written for John Belushi. Good to know. That's very interesting. He would have been good as that. All right.
Would have been a very different character.
You're right. It's time for our next segment.
I need to.
We gotta come on.
Have a drink.
We gotta keep it moving. What's our next segment called?
You should have some.
Thank you, but I'm gonna have my own.
Okay.
What is this one called? I'll give you a hint. It's written right there.
Oh, I love this segment.
Okay, go ahead. Don't be weird.
Fight Club.
Okay. All right. So in Fight Club, we pit 2 fictional characters against each other. Often they are characters played by the same actor. Not always, but often. And this week we have Beetlejuice versus Batman.
Michael Keaton's Batman.
Correct. Michael Keaton's Batman.
So Michael Keaton, Beetlejuice.
If they
Michael
found
Keaton.
themselves as
At
adversaries, who would be the victor? What do y'all think? Who do you think would win? And why?
Well, I have some thoughts.
Go ahead.
I mean, do you have some thoughts
Sure.
you'd like to lead with?
You want me to lead with them?
Sure.
Well, I think that we are going to be on different sides of this argument.
Probably.
Here's what I think Beetlejuice has going for him.
I mean, he's got a lot.
He's dead.
Yeah.
So he's got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
He can change forms. He can shapeshift. He
He's
can
got
become a snake.
The power of the supernatural.
Correct. I called it ghost magic in my notes, but you called it the power of the supernatural. And also, he's not afraid to kill someone. He was really interested in killing someone in this movie. And so I think Batman has some morals that would prevent him.
Not Michael Keaton's Batman.
Oh, he doesn't.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I need to
so many
rewatched
people.
it. So sorry. But I think there are some drawbacks to Beetlejuice. He needs to be summoned. If you don't summon him, he can't come.
Right.
And I wouldn't call him in good shape. I wouldn't describe him as being in good shape.
It's not fit.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's kind of my assessment of Beetlejuice. What about Batman? What does he have going for him or against him?
Batman's always got a plan. He's a strategist. I mean, he's taken down Superman with enough planning.
But not Michael Keaton Batman. You said specifically Michael Keaton Batman.
I'm going to borrow from other incarnations.
All right, fine. I'm going to see what
I
people
feel
are
like
saying.
that Batman is a master strategist and that he could, with some amount of preparation, come up with a plan to take down Beetlejuice. Plus, you can be in a fight with Beetlejuice and then just say his name 3 times and Beetlejuice is out of there.
That's
Batman
a really
would
good
come
point.
Up with that. He would
Do you
go-
think Batman knows that?
Yeah, he'd be like, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. And then he'd be gone.
Yeah, Brian agrees with you about that.
Batman would know.
But there's other people that think Beetlejuice would win. And here's one thing I think that Batman has against him.
What's that?
That he's super boring.
Batman is boring?
Yeah.
You have real problems, lady. I don't know what to say to that. Batman is not boring.
I mean, he's this boring old rich guy that, yeah.
You would be so lucky to be
Not into Batman.
with Bruce Wayne. He is not. He's a very psychologically complex character.
Sure. He's rich. That's good. He's good
I
looking.
don't know what to say to this.
I think Beetlejuice would win. He fights dirty.
I feel like Batman
He fights
would,
dirty, and he's got ghost magic in his fingers.
Batman would have the edge. I feel like he could come up with a way to defeat Beetlejuice, and it's not that it's all that involved. He's just got to say his name 3 times.
That's not defeating him. That's just banishing him.
Absolutely is defeating him, because then he can't come back unless anybody else says his name 3 times, and Batman would say, "Don't say his name."
And
3
everyone's
times.
mad at me.
Yeah, everyone loves Batman.
Well, Ken thinks Beetlejuice would win. Vicky thinks Beetlejuice would win. Anna points out that Batman has Alfred as his helper.
I mean, he might be a help.
Tiana's with me. That's unexpected. I thought Tiana was gonna love Batman. Elizabeth's mad. Joanne's mad. It's fine.
Batman also isn't going to be frightened by his theatrics, because Batman also has theatrics. Like, Beetlejuice would be like,
Batman.
"Hey, where you going?" And Batman would throw down one of those
Here's what
smoke pellets, and then
this is my
and
issue
then
with
Batman's
Batman.
out, and then Beetlejuice is like, "Where you go?"
I know
Where'd
you're
you go?
upset, but this is my issue with Batman, and it's not new. I've told you before. Do you know what it is? Do you know what my
That he
issue is?
doesn't have any powers.
But
But that's part of the appeal
he's
of the
a
character.
superhero wannabe.
He is
not
a
actually.
superhero.
He doesn't have any superpowers. His superpower is that he's rich and
No.
he can buy a lot of gadgets.
No, that is not his superpower. He's super intelligent. He has honed
That's
his
not a superpower.
He has honed his body and mind to perfection.
Also not a superpower.
It is a superpower.
It's just a dedicated human that has worked hard.
That is.
But that's not a superpower.
But maybe there's a superhero in all of us.
Okay.
In here, maybe we all have the greatest.
There are supernatural creatures in Batman, but Batman himself is not supernatural.
Maybe the greatest superpower lies in the human heart, right here. Maybe that's the point. The point is, anyone that Batman is a human that decided to use
Right.
his abilities.
You're not going to
for
convince
good.
me.
So, who is more admirable? A bulletproof superhero that saves you from a mugger, or a hero that can be shot himself and put himself
the
in harm's way?
superhero could have been a super villain, but he chose to do good.
We're not gonna
It's
not
fine.
gonna see eye to eye on this, and I feel like the overwhelming majority of America and the world agrees
Yeah,
with me.
Brian says he's
Come on.
just rich. That's all. Take away his utility belt, and he's just a guy in a black rubber suit. I'm
He
with
could
Brian.
still take. He could take us
Yeah,
all
he's
down.
a strong guy.
And he's a ninja.
Sure, that's fine.
He's a martial artist. He's a detective.
Okay.
Oh my
His
gosh.
social skills are not great.
Well, we all have problems that we have to overcome, and that's his. He's a bit of a loner, but he's Batman.
Well, we did not come to a consensus.
Batman would find a way to defeat Michael Keaton's Beetlejuice. Batman would find a way to defeat Michael Keaton.
Well, I don't know about that. I agree to disagree.
And then you always have that factor when it's two actors playing the same character fighting each other in Fight Club. One of them can just say, "Hey, we look exactly the same," and the other one is so
But they
taken
don't.
aback.
Beetlejuice does not
Batman
look
would
like Batman.
take the mask off, and Beetlejuice is like, "What's going on? We should hang out. We should go to that
Beetlejuice doesn't want to hang out
gentleman's
with
club
anybody.
in the cemetery." Right.
Okay, we're gonna have to close this segment. Okay. Our next segment, our penultimate segment, is Trivia Timeout. And today, go ahead.
Timeout.
We're gonna move this part. We're gonna move through this part quickly. We're gonna talk about Tim Burton. Tim Burton has made 9 films that are remakes of other movies or TV shows. As a director, he's made 19 films, and 9 of them, almost half of them. Well, that is half of them. Close to half of them. Math gets a little tricky.
You're good at math.
Thank you. Are films that are remakes, which is kind of weird, I thought. So we're going to talk about the remakes, and you're going to
Disney put him to work making.
Okay, but you're going to read these things relatively quickly. So just Thomas is going to tell you about the remake. You guess the remake. If you win, you're awesome.
All right,
Go.
This film was made in 2001. It was based off a film made in 1968. The entire franchise is based off of a French book. Pardon me?
Yeah.
Burton's version stars Mark Wahlberg.
Marky Mark.
Wahlberg. Hey guys, where you going? I'm Mark Wahlberg. I'm a scientist.
Does he talk like that?
Yeah, this is how Mike Wahlberg
Oh my God!
talks.
Please keep going.
I'm a scientist.
Please stop.
Okay. Helena Bonham Carter. That doesn't narrow it down.
I know.
Tim Roth, Michael Clark Duncan, Paul Giamatti, and Chris Christopherson.
Okay, Robert's got it. Robert is the winner.
Wins. The
because
answer
the answer is
Planet of the Apes.
correct.
The original
Very good.
stars were Charlton Heston, Roddy McDowell, and Kim Hunter.
Very good. Very good, Robert.
Charlton Heston cameos in Planet of the Apes 2001
Good to
as an ape.
Good to know. Number 2.
Number 2, this film was made in 2019.
Don't read it like a robot.
It's based on a Disney animated film from 1941.
Thomas.
I'm not talking like a robot.
Just read regular words.
Burton's version stars Colin Farrell, Michael Keaton. You might have heard of him.
It's not Batman.
And Danny DeVito.
So it's 2019.
Yeah.
It stars... Who does it star again? Colin Farrell, Michael Keaton, Danny DeVito. And what's it based on?
A film from 1941. Burton's version is live action.
The original version is animated.
It's animated.
Okay. And
No one's chiming in.
well, it's because you.
Those are all the hints.
What about that part?
It's part of Disney's current live action remake era.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Any guesses? Remake from 1941. Duke is the winner.
It reunites Michael Keaton and Danny DeVito, who last starred
In
together
Batman
in
Returns.
Batman Returns.
Yes, Duke, it is Dumbo. Correct. This was critically panned.
Number 3, this film was made in 2005. It's based on a 1971 movie.
Ooh, I love the original.
The original movie is based on a 1964 novel.
I love the novel as well.
Burton's version stars Johnny Depp, Freddie Highmore, Helena Bonham Carter, and Christopher Lee.
He used to be married to Helena Bonham Carter. Did you know that?
Right.
They have 2 kids together, and she's in like a million of his movies, along
Right.
with Johnny Depp.
We should just name movies that he's made that don't have them.
Well,
Robert Manriquez.
Robert gets it again. Right before Elizabeth. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Correct. Very good. Very good. You want the next one? Sorry. Vicky also got it. Y'all are all good. Ken is incorrect as usual.
I'm channeling David Letterman.
Okay, but stop. Just
Number
keep going.
4. This film was made in 2010. The original was a Disney animated film
Another one?
made in 1951. The films were both based on an 1865 novel. There have been at least 35 cinematic and television adaptations
Oh my goodness.
of this 2010 film. Burton's version stars Johnny Depp.
What?
Helena Bonham Carter
What?
is back. Anne Hathaway, Crispin Glover, Michael Sheen. That's correct.
Duke is the winner again. Duke sweeps in this week as a newcomer and is just
Alice in
winning
Wonderland.
all of the trivia. Alice in Wonderland,
Stephen Fry,
correct.
Timothy Spall, and Mia Wasikowski.
Do you? Okay. Well, I'm glad we have one left. We just have one left. Talk like a normal person.
I don't know how to say her last name.
Okay,
Can
just
you
move
say
on.
it? You can't say it either.
I can't right now.
Wasikowski.
Yeah, that's fine.
In the title role, Alice in Wonderland. Haven't seen it.
Number 5.
I think there was a sequel not directed by Tim Burton. Yes.
I liked the television miniseries from the 80s. You did it again. You did it.
I almost
again.
said the name of the movie.
But you said enough of it.
Nah, they didn't hear me. Y'all didn't hear me.
Just go ahead and do it.
This film was made in 2012. It's based on a late 1960s television series.
I know Angie's dad loves this series. He's a big fan of the television
Stars
series.
Johnny Depp, Michelle Pfeiffer, Helena Bonham Carter, Eva Green. Even though you said
There it
Eva Green.
is.
Johnny Lee Miller.
Ryan is the winner of that one.
Dark Shadows. Chloe Grace Moretz. Christopher Lee again. Good for him. And Alice Cooper.
Christopher Lee, Johnny Depp, Helena Bonham Carter, and Danny Elfman are his most frequent collaborators. And it's been like, he
loves him some Christopher Lee.
Yeah.
That is for sure.
Yeah.
The original series starred
You don't know this.
Jonathan Frid, Grayson Hall, and Alexandra Isles.
Very good. Very good, everyone. Well done. I want to tell you about next week. We got 2 exciting announcements. First of all, next week, for 1 week only, we are going to meet at 7:30. Are you free at 7:30?
I'll have to consult my calendar.
So don't be sad when we don't show up at 6:30, because then you'll be like, oh yeah, remember they're going to be at 7:30. So 7:30 next week, just for 1 week, and then we'll go back to 6:30. And then this guy right here, Thomas, he's been a good sport for the past, 11 weeks. We've been doing this a long time. And he's been begging to select a movie.
What?
And you know why I've told him no?
I don't know that that's a strong. That's not. I'm not out.
You know why I've told him no?
I
Because
definitely
it's not
disagree.
called Thomas's Movie Club. It's called Meghan's Movie Club. And he's just my trusty sidekick. He's just not in the driver's seat.
Whoa.
But
Whoa.
I decided to allow him 1 week to choose the film.
Yes.
And so I'm going to now announce this film via our final segment.
You got this. This is your whole life has been building to this moment.
You're making it weird.
Don't screw it up.
Okay, stop. Okay, so our final segment is called Clue, in which I give you clues and you try to guess the movie for next week. All right, first clue. So after I tell you, you're my Alfred. Yes, you are. Except less handy. After each clue, you are going to guess. So clue number 1, this movie is a sci-fi comedy. Go. Is that correct? Did I correctly categorize it as a sci-fi comedy?
You incorrectly categorized me as not being handy. I'm super
Compared to Alfred,
what does Alfred even do? You don't know. You hate Batman.
he does lots of high-tech things. He keeps Batman's calendar.
That's what I do.
He keeps his schedule. He's a butler.
I do.
You're certainly not a butler.
I'm not a butler, but I'm quite tidy, I think. I feel like
Okay,
I'm
no
tidy.
guess. Oh, we do have a guess. Spaceballs, The Last Starfighter. Spaceballs. You know, Spaceballs is an excellent guess, knowing Thomas's affinity for all things Star Wars. But it's not right. So I'm going to give you clue number 2. Clue number 2 is this movie takes place partly in outer space. Is that part correct? Because I made all this up. I haven't seen the movie before. All right. Sci-fi comedy takes place in outer space, partly. Guess. I mean, was I right? Does it take?
I've never seen it.
You're kidding me.
I've never watched it. That's part of why I picked it. That's part of why I picked it. Because I've been meaning to get around to it.
Thomas.
Yes.
You selected a movie
I've never sat and watched the whole thing.
that you've never seen.
No.
What if it's hugely offensive? What if we are directing our audience to watch a movie that has some majorly offensive part in it?
Nah, we'll be fine. We'll be fine.
You get one choice.
Yeah.
You get one choice, and you chose a movie you've never seen.
I've not seen the entire thing. I don't know that I've sat down and watched it from beginning to end.
Well,
but
I'm
I
going to
hear
tell
it's
you
fantastic.
that Elizabeth guessed correctly, and so did Brian. Galaxy Quest. Correct. That is correct. We're going to see Galaxy Quest.
Yep.
It was released in 1999. The original tagline was "Never give up, never surrender." It stars Tim Allen, Sigourney. It's another word that's hard for me. Sigourney Weaver, Alan Rickman, Tony Shalhoub, and Sam Rockwell.
Yep, it's a great film.
It's directed by Dean Parasite. I'm not sure I'm saying it right, but you know who he is? You know what else he directed?
I will once you tell me.
The new upcoming Bill and Ted movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
Tiana doesn't even know what Galaxy Quest is.
Galaxy Quest, some consider it to be the greatest Star Trek movie made.
Well, let me tell you, I'll sum it up for you very quickly.
Technically Star Trek.
You talk too much, so I'm going to wrap it up quickly. Yes. So all the people that I just listed are the cast of this series that's like Star Trek, but it's not. It's called Galaxy Quest, and they go to conventions and they do all the things that tricky people do. However, there is a group of actual aliens that all they know of, and I've not seen the movie, so I might be messing this up, but there's a group of aliens and all they know of Earth is what they have learned on this TV show. So they think that this cast of a television show is an actual space crew.
Yeah, just stop there. You might spoil some plot points. You continue.
I mean, I'm just saying what I learned in the trailer. Okay. Anyway, they come and they recruit help. They come and they ask the cast of Galaxy Quest for help.
It would be as if aliens arrived on Earth and recruited William Shatner to help them.
You know what it reminds me of is the Three Amigos.
Yes.
Because in the Three Amigos, they're actors pretending to be bandits. They're acting as bandits. Right. And then they're hired, like the Seven Samurai style, to actually defend this town. But guess what? They're just actors.
Right. It's similar to that.
Anyway, Never Surrender, a Galaxy Quest documentary.
Yes.
Okay, good.
There's
Spoiler
a documentary
alert.
that came out in the last 2 years about...
Brian's stopping me that I've said too much, but I haven't seen it, so I can't spoil something I haven't seen. So anyway, Thomas, who selected a movie he's never seen before, and
I've seen most of it, I feel like, over the years, but I don't recall ever sitting down to watch it, and I thought this would make for a perfect opportunity.
Well, there you go. We will be watching it this week. We hope that you will join us, and come back here on Thursday at 7:30 p.m.
For Thomas's Movie Club, next Thursday, 7:30 p.m., Thomas's Movie Club with me, Thomas, and Meghan might be there. Depends on how I'm feeling that particular day. If I'm going to invite her to join me, maybe I'll find another co-host. There's been a lot of talk of replacement co-hosts. Maybe you will be the person replaced.
It's still called
Thomas's Movie Club.
It's still called Megan's Movie Club.
Fight Club.
You don't even know how to get on the Robinson Facebook page.
Oh, no. Mm-hmm. I hadn't thought that far ahead.
But anyway, I hope that you will enjoy Galaxy Quest this week, and maybe I'll turn over the Facebook event page to you for the week, and you can put all the fun comments on it and engage with my friends that I've
The Facebook page for Thomas's Movie Club?
Megan's Movie Club. All right, guys, have a great week. Love you, and see you next week. Tiana says I should spoil all of your trivia questions. Tiana, I hate to tell you this, but
show's over.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to still be writing all of the content.
I'm sure about
because
that
he
also.
Doesn't do that.
No, I don't. I'm pretty sure you will be providing the content. I'm happy to help however I can, but you know what? We've gone over now. The show's over. What
show's
are you
over.
What are you
We're
still
way
doing
over.
here?
I apologize for the length of our show
Show's
today.
over.
Bye. See you next week.
Go home.